morning, everybody. Welcome. Will never not crack me up at the beginning of an episode. Welcome, guys, to today's episode of Market Check. The market might be down, but at least you got to listen to that kick-ass intro that we have playing for you every day before Market Check. But yeah, welcome to another show, guys. Happy Monday, another week. About halfway through November now. I'm Snorlax. You guys know me as Tommy. I'm joined by Tucker, Louie, and of course, Chef Jackus. We're going to have a great show for you all today. Dissect the winds of change in this market, right? Is it over? Are we so back? Where are the levels? If you're not in either camp where you can expect, either lower pricing or reclamation before higher prices, we're going to talk about it on today's show. But before we can get into that, before we can get into levels, market sentiment, everything else in between, and maybe even some questions from the audience, I'm going to ask if you guys can slam that like button for us. It's Monday. Let's start the week off on a positive note, guys. And let's. It really is just what I just said. Let's set the stage. Let's start the week off on a positive note. Run the like button up. We always appreciate when you guys do that. Of course, you help us keep the lights on here at Because Bitcoin, this YouTube channel that we run. But all right, let's get into the charts and the markets. Bitcoin, I want to say, is around the same price as probably the Friday close. Maybe it's a little bit lower. We spent most of the weekend pretty much doing nothing, right? We were kind of just consolidating for a few days. We got a pump on Sunday and into New York Open. And stop me if you guys have heard this before. The burgers started selling our coins at open. Looks like it's happened again. And for the record, ETH is much stronger than Bitcoin today. We'll have to talk about that. And that was something that we noticed over the weekend as well. ETH, Bitcoin has been stronger. Maybe it's just kind of a pause before we kind of continue like this gradual bleed down that it's done. But I do think that at least speaks to the fact that something that we've touched on multiple times on this show over the last few weeks, we flushed so much leverage out of altcoins I can't believe that was 5 weeks ago now at this point, that where the most residual leverage is going to be in majors. So that, to me, is kind of like, okay, why is ETH Bitcoin up but the market keeps selling off? Well, there's probably still more leverage inherently built into Bitcoin's price than something like ETH, Sol, and obviously these other, I would say more so these other altcoins than ETH and Sol, but still, you have to acknowledge the buyback that we've seen on ETH BTC throughout these moves lower. However, right now, you look at ETH, you look at Bitcoin, I think Bitcoin finally kind of caught up to what ETH and Sol were maybe alluding to for a few weeks, where liquidity had been draining and ETH and Sol looked droopier and droopier. And I feel like Bitcoin's kind of beginning to catch up to that, right? We kind of broke down from the range that we've been trading in for 6 months as of last week. Where do we go from here, right? Is it going to be chop and grind? Are we going to carve out a base? Or is the selling just getting started? We're going to talk about it on Market Check with you guys today. But how are we doing, guys? How was our weekends? Did we do anything? And what are we seeing in the markets?
Tommy. Yeah, man, I'm not buying our ETH BTC strength here whatsoever. I think if anything, it shows that we haven't capitulated at all yet, actually, which is a little bit scary at 93K Bitcoin. Reading the comments.
I tend to think that like most retail market participants have already capitulated by now. Either they got liquidated on 10/10 or sold off already. But it's just general risk selling off. I think crypto is front running here. Equities. I think equities might follow up crypto sooner. That's been the case in the past. But currently the conditions are not there for broader risk market, and so the selling is likely to continue to some degree, obviously with some lower time frame bounces in between until that changes. But yeah.
It is a ghost town out here. It is. What somebody said is the high IQ Asian boy a fraud? So that's the you guys know who he's talking about, that guy on Twitter.
I didn't the first time I read the comment, and I get it now though.
Yeah. So what's his IQ? Like 200 something?
220.
Yeah. So this guy said like 170K. What did he say?
I think he said like 200K, but I think he's also forgetting that high intellectual individuals don't run crypto.
That's very true.
Yeah, there's zero correlation between high IQ and being able to navigate financial markets, in my opinion. I mean, maybe a little bit. You can't be like zero IQ, but I feel like usually it's like a happy medium. You know, the super high IQs usually tend to overthink and overevaluate.
Regarding this, Leo Garcia, the fear and greed index, some people say it's a meme. Some people say it's great. I say it's somewhat in the middle. I think it's a great tool, but it's not a all saying. It's sort of like a overbought, oversold indicator. It has to be put in a broader context of things. So we've bottomed on fear and greed index, for example, in March and April. We've bottomed on the fear and greed index in like July, August, and September of last year. And we have bottomed on it in August 23, but we have also not bottomed on it in the beginning of 22, sorry. So what I'm trying to say is fear and greed index is good, but it depends on lots of things, and you have to put it in the broader context. And I don't think right now it matters as much when you have clearly violated the bullish trend here.
Yeah. Wait.
So how long? Long. I think maybe Max has some fear and greed index indicator that you can overlay with Bitcoin.
Is this true, Max?
Maybe we can put it onto the chart and see.
I don't have one made, but I know that there are some on TradingView already. If you,
I mean, this is one I just pulled up. I don't know if it's a good one or not.
there's some other good ones that I've seen.
You recognize?
I'll just start at the top. Like you can definitely see like an oscillator of it.
Yeah, this is the top one.
Okay, then maybe go down further. I don't know. Yeah, like that.
Yeah. Let me get rid of this one.
Yeah, that's a good one.
So should I go weekly maybe?
Wait, the McRib is a sandwich?
So as you can see, right?
Yeah.
Like in April, or in March and April, that clearly was the swing bottom in this year. And then the same thing was in July and September and August. But then if you're going to look at when the fear and greed index dipped there, it was exactly at November, right? And it stayed there for a long time.
Yeah, I mean,
in 2021, November 21.
This one, yeah. I mean, yeah.
Yeah.
Like this whole.
Yeah. So like, it's a great tool, but it only works under certain conditions. But there is also that meme of fear and greed index being at -10, and it's like this.
Yeah, I don't think there's a ton of signal in the fear and greed anymore.
No, I think there is, but again, it's just well, from my point of view, but it's just a tool, right? It's not like just because fear and greed index is somewhere. It's yeah.
I don't even know what they're using. Like, do you know what data they're even looking at?
It's directly on the site, so you can check it yourself. And it has different valuations. So it has like volatility, market momentum and volume, social media, surveys, which is currently paused, dominance, and certain trends. Google Trends for Bitcoin and such. So like it
Yeah.
tracks how people are researching Bitcoin and all of these, So it's I suppose it's not perfect, but I would say it works pretty decent. I kind of like that tool, but again, I use it as a tool, not as a all around telling thing.
Yeah, I
Mhm.
liked what you said on the morning call. When you said it works well as long as you're maintaining like high time frame market structure, right? So if you're
Yeah.
maintaining high time frame market structure and you're in max fear, likely you're going to get a bounce out of that max fear. But if you're losing high time frame market structure, which we are now for sure, some of us have called that out a little earlier. Some of us were waiting for a little more confirmation. We definitely have lost weekly market structure. We're at max fear. It could remain at max fear, becoming lower for longer than most expect if we are not maintaining that high time frame market structure. So I did like when you said that on the call this morning. That makes a lot of sense. And again, it's a tool.
Thank you.
So it's one of many things to use and look at. Because that was something I was saying. I was like, listen, we've had a nice pullback thus far. Everyone's fear. We were kind of holding weekly structure. It makes sense for a bounce. But after last week close, now we're closing a weekly below high time frame structure. Max fear makes sense, and it can stay that way. I was in the mindset, well, be greedy while others are fearful. In reality, I should have been more fearful when others were fearful.
The bad days are over. Now it's time for even worse days.
Yeah. Yeah. At least I have this Santa mug. This makes
It's
me
very
happy.
nice, Louis. That's very nice.
It's a nice mug. Yeah.
Stop giving me hard battles. Why are you still alive? Give me harder battles. What the fuck?
I'll be honest, I
Well-
can't mentally get in the Christmas spirit until after Thanksgiving. Like, I just adamantly reject the Christmas spirit until Thanksgiving is finished, and then I'll get very into the season. But before that, I just can't do it.
Do you have the Thanksgiving spirit, Tommy?
I love Thanksgiving, man. I love
Same.
getting to see my family and getting to eat a bunch of delicious food.
Mhm.
I read that. Well, what do you guys think for bonds here, or like soon enough? Like, obviously, nothing's like like I think this changes the risk flow, but obviously, market isn't like up only or down only. Like we will be getting moves up and moves down. As scary as it might look for people here, we will get bounces. Where do you see them? Do you think it's going to be like a straight boom down, or do we bounce here to like 100, 110K? Some people are viewing 120K bounce. What about that?
I've been in the whoosh camp.
Whoosh.
I think it depends on equities.
I've been saying I think we're in a whoosh scenario just because, I mean, this is kind of what the VIX has done for the last like 15 months. VIX futures bottom, and then it's like, because I agree with everybody that the high time frame thematics are excessively bullish for equities and for crypto. But what's happened consistently over the last like year and a half is people get way too exuberant and try to price in probably like 5 to 10 years of bullishness all at the front end. And so that's where you get like these opportunities for larger corrections, which I guess we're seeing now. But I mean, if you look at the way that we have corrected, it's been big VIX spikes. And I kind of feel like that's probably going to be what happens again at the end of this. And crypto, it's like you said, Jack, I think it's probably telegraphing what we're going to see from equity markets.
It has been that way so far, which obviously isn't a guarantee of future results, but nobody can work with a guarantee in markets. And so the probability tells us that, we should be getting probably a weak spike. We'll see at what end, though. We know that these these equities drops, they can get dragged out, and then the wick spike can obviously come like few months down the line. Like even if you're gonna look at the March April example, right? Like wicks was moving higher, but sort of gradually. There wasn't like that real panic, right? And it retraced most of its move, and then April came. Trump coming out with the 100% tariff sign and on China and all of that, and the market was like, "Fuck this, I'm out." Never before.
I'm still
So-
salty about that April correction, man, because I had like deep out of the money puts on the Qs that expired a week before. Oh, max pain.
Yeah, I feel yeah.
I mean, that's usually what I do, though. I'm usually like 2 or 3 weeks too soon with my positioning. So we'll see.
Well, you go super short dated too, but that gives the max payout.
Yeah.
So it's a timing thing. But yeah, I agree. I think it's really dependent on equities. If Bitcoin and crypto have been front running an equity sell off, which I think is well overdue. I don't know if we get a bounce here. I mean, in my opinion, yeah, we probably should, right? If you're just looking at the crypto market as a bubble, yeah, it makes sense to see a little relief bounce. But if equities are just now catching up to this sell-off and this downturn and this shift of market structure we've seen in crypto, I think it's going to be very difficult for crypto to have relief or any sort of bounce in an environment where equities are selling off hard, right? So we're looking at the VIX. Looks coiled, Tommy's looking for that big whoosh. I definitely see it, right? It's just the VIX has been refusing to break down over the last several trading days and weeks. It's like, does a bounce make sense in crypto? Yeah, maybe a little bit, but again, if equities are just going to sell off here in a big way, it could get a lot worse before it gets better. So we are in a very tough spot. For sure. My question to you guys would be, is there a bull market somewhere, right? They're just saying that there's always a bull market somewhere. Like, how do you guys feel about the Asian markets? I know we've touched on like Alibaba and Billy and all that stuff. Is there anywhere to hide? Or is it more or less just good to stay in cash? Like, what are you guys thinking about that?
It's funny that you brought that up. I was looking at China stocks last night. I don't know if it's like imminent. I kind of feel like Billy is going to pull back and then gigasend on a higher time frame. Like this move up that it's had. We've compared this chart, I feel like, in the past to Solana off the bear market bottom. And this, to me, feels a lot like that spike that we shorted at like, what was it, $25? Then it pulled back.
Yeah.
Pulled back into like 18 to $20 and then made its huge cyclical bull market. So that's kind of where I feel like Billy is. Baba is much harder for me to kind of figure out where it is.
Yeah. What does Billy do again?
It's like Chinese YouTube.
Oh, interesting.
Is that what it is? I didn't even know what it was, to be honest.
Yeah, it has lots of like its algorithms work really well, and it keeps people on the platform. Actually, they keep increasing the hours people spend on their platform. It's giving them better video recommendation. It's more interactive, and so it's. I think the stock price is nicely reflecting the fundamentals there. I think one thing to understand with whether that's stocks or digital assets is that prices can be going up even when a stock or the company or the protocol in terms of crypto is shit, right? Like as Stanley Druckenmiller said, like I shorted like 15 stocks of what I thought were shitty companies. I shorted 200 million, and in a few months I was down minus 600 million. Guess what? All the stocks went bankrupt a year later. So oftentimes even shit companies can be going up when the broader risk is there. The same way, good companies can be going down when the risk is not there, when the liquidity conditions are not there, even when the fundamentals are good, right? And when the company or the protocol keeps bringing in revenue month after month, quarter after quarter. But longer term, these will show its way to the chart. The shit companies, the zombie companies, they will essentially file for bankruptcy and they will sell a lot, while the good ones, they will remain and essentially go back to their fair price. And so when I look at stuff like Billy, Baba, general China stocks, I think the economy went through its big. What do you mean?
He was.
How is that?
He thought you were talking about yourself when you said you were shorting 600 million or whatever.
Oh, I see. Now that was Stanley Druckenmiller. If I were that rich, I would probably not be here talking. Maybe I would, because I still kind of like it. Although obviously these times are not the best. But yeah. But I think all of these, I think the China economy went through its tough period. They had the largest developer, their Evergrande, collapsing. People were lining up in a very long queues. Sorry, I'm not sure what's the word for it, but like lineups to buy spot gold. The country went through its sort of Great Depression. I think the stock prices have been nicely culminating since 2022. I think this goes for lots of even like US small caps. When the risk conditions return, these companies will capture lots of that. But obviously, as you can see from the chart in 2020-21, these went parabolic. And then despite everything, they just simply went down. But now it's all positioning up for a monster rally in the upcoming years, and I think one should be prepared for that. I think one should not be fading it, and and I think this will go for plenty of the digital assets protocols as well. In time, it will be obvious, but right now, unless you're like, hey, I'll buy this, this asset, not look at it, not touch it for the next 4 years. If you do that, then I think you're okay. Again, unless you're buying like complete shit. But there's lots of it, right? But if you are playing the risk likes that we are, then I think there is right now the risk conditions are not there for the next few months. Yeah, my English is so cool. I would probably get fired from an English lesson class.
I'll tell you one sector that actually is kind of going through a bull market right now, Louis, is pharma. Like very quietly. It's not something that I trade, but I know that a lot of those stocks are performing pretty well right now.
Like a Merck.
Yeah, I saw that like Jazz Pharmaceuticals was up 18% today, for example. I know there were some other ones last week, but again, that's just not really like the sort of asset that I trade.
Oh, wow. Look at that.
Yeah, Merck doesn't look too bad either, actually. Looks like it's trying to put in looks like it put in a bottom and starting to move back to the upside. That's a nice move.
This is a good shout, Eli Lilly. That's another one that I think made higher high, right?
Yeah.
Wow.
Wait, is that
You're in crypto, pivot to drug use. I'm kidding.
Yeah.
Don't actually do that.
Well, no, that's like stuff like liquor and like alcohol stocks too. Like if we are going to go for a big downturn in the market, and I guess maybe have recessionary fears, quote unquote, like apparently like alcohol and liquor stocks do well, right? Because in those depressing times, that's when people load up on stuff like that. Like if you look at like a ticker like Bud, like looks like it's kind of accumulating. I don't know. So maybe that's telling, but I'm interested to see how other sectors of the market react if they do get like an overall equity pullback.
Will you guys buy $100 Tesla? Jesus. What is it trading at right now?
420.
Oh my God.
We could have bought $100 Tesla. I remember it when it was $100.
I also remember that.
I was buying 150.
Really looks a lot like the Bitcoin chart throughout this cycle. I'm not gonna lie, it just didn't have the same oomph that Bitcoin did.
Yeah, I feel like it needs to move, or it's going to be like, looks like it wants to droop over. Kind of looks like ETH too. The octuple top.
The forever range.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What about something like a Target? You know what I mean? Like these consumer staples that have been pulling back. You still like Target, Jackus?
Sorry,
Target. Sorry, Target.
what target?
Target. What are your targets for Target? You still like it?
I do, but I don't like the general conditions for the equities as we discussed right now. So I kind of pulled back out of it.
Yeah.
But I still think it should be reaching like 150 on a bounce, perhaps even higher. We'll see.
Yeah, I think like just structurally, if the market's going to pull back and you're looking at charts like this that have already been pulling back for like multiple years, like I am torn because like, yeah, if equities pull back, like obviously a lot of stuff's going to pull back first, but like, is there a shot that like stocks like these rally after that pullback, or does everything just continue to sell off together? It's kind of a tricky spot.
Speaking of Tesla stocks, I just cannot find myself being bullish on the company itself. I think it still very deeply requires government support or like some subsidies, and honestly, it's self-driving cars are not really that much self-driving. I'm not sure I'm that optimistic on Optimus either, looking at the other companies. And so I'm like I'm not saying they are really like not gonna solve it at some point, but I'm saying there is so much competition in all of these, and it seems that the competition is getting it much better. And so I cannot really right now like be really that much bullish on the stock, neither fundamentally, neither TA wise. Have you guys checked like on their on the robotaxis basically, and the whole situation around that? Because I feel like before, right, market was sort of pricing them in as if they are going to be like the number one, the number one EVs, the number one in robots and so forth. But I don't think they are really achieving that.
Yeah. I mean, I have to agree. I mean, I kind of felt like everybody really piled on. They didn't really pile in, but everybody is I feel like, kind of been viewing Tesla as the best way to get exposure to robotics among the Mag 7, which is probably why it ended up pumping over the last few months. Obviously, market correlation existed too, but I think that was really where like most of the optimism was for Tesla as a company. I still don't quite know what to make of this chart. I wouldn't say that I think this is like a bull flag before a breakout, but
May I
also
touch
think
upon
it's
the
going down.
robotics before we lose the needle there, by the way?
Say what?
May I touch upon the robotics before we lose a needle
Oh
there?
yeah, go for it.
I'm like, obviously we know that it's going to be the trend, the direction, for robotics. But just like AI was a thing, it was a thing for like the past 15 years. It's just that it really didn't get mainstream until like, ChatGPT. But it was a thing. And so I think robotics is obviously going to be the trend of the future. And some of those robots, like what they can do is like, like physically, it's really amazing. But the thing is that all they do is what the people behind put inside, right? Like it's what like the team coded for the robots to do. But I don't believe yet that it's like really like they are these autonomous robots just yet, that you can buy them into your home and they can like they can understand everything by nature, right? Like they will not. Sorry, I'm
We're
hearing
getting
a
some background noise here.
echo, yeah, from someone. But what I was saying is that they cannot like go and like clean your dishwasher exactly. Like each dishwasher for each home is different, right? And so you can like set it for your own dishwasher, and but not like for all of them. And in each house it's in a different place of the kitchen and so forth, and there are so many tasks. They are like and I think obviously we will get there one day, but I don't think we are at that point just yet. And so it might be a little bit overhype in that segment. I don't think it's an overhype in AI, because I think like the AI tools that we get are really good, and they do indeed increase the efficiency. But when it comes to robotics, I just don't think we are there yet. We will be, but not right now. It's my few cents.
No, I agree completely. I think like the talk of having an autonomous robot in your house by next year is just completely. I don't buy that one bit. And if it is, it's going to be like a gimmick almost. I know they're really expensive to purchase, but I just can't imagine that the functionality is anywhere near where it needs to be for something like that to really work. Not to be pessimistic about it, but I'm with you, Jack. It's like I don't think humanoid robotics is anywhere near where it needs to be for like a bull market to really take place there yet.
Yeah. So I think any upside in the stocks is just going to be a local hype. Something like what we saw in Metaverse, right? Like remember that? And everything Metaverse like was pumping, stocks and crypto included, but then it all died. And I think Metaverse will be a thing of the future, I think too, but it's just too early for it now. And I think it's the same with robotics. And so I think the self-driving cars, that's much of a thing than the robotics right now. And I don't think, again, I'm not seeing Tesla really winning in either of these two right now.
Indeed. Yeah. Yeah, pretty much.
You should put him on for old time's sake.
I have to dig him out of a box.
Like
You don't use them at all anymore?
Not really. Hold on 1 second. Hold on.
How about a robot cat? That'd be interesting. Didn't we have that though? What was that called? You know what I'm talking about? The robot that you control with the remote as a kid?
Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
I can't remember the name of it.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about. This is actually quite interesting. Like the fact that if equities did top, like the day that he kind of stepped down or like closed the fund, It looked like the S&P was like topped. I don't know if it's true yet. We don't know. Need more data, but that was very interesting.
The market is looking to liquidate all market participants.
That's the thing. It's like I'm sure we're going to see a
Yeah,
lot of
it
bear
is.
propaganda out there. There it is.
What's that?
There you go. Boys for nuking.
Boys, we are nuking.
It's over.
Bears could take their victory lap. I mean, listen, Bears have obviously, at least for Bitcoin and altcoins, have had the ball. But let's not sugarcoat things. It's been tough for both Bears and Bulls for the last several months. So Bears capitulating, Bulls capitulating. It's just been that type of market. It's just been that type of market.
6-month range before decision time. We'll do it.
Yeah,
And
crazy.
it's like max pain. Range. Okay, so if it's not straight down, range is the second most painful outcome always.
Yeah, just getting chopped up.
Oh, you thought you had a good trend with good momentum? Actually, no. You're gonna trade the chop, and you're gonna like it.
I'll say this again. I still cannot believe by any means that we got a septuple top on ETH in the past 5 years. Like that's just
It doesn't make
just
sense.
incredible, criminal, all of it at the same time.
Very much so. Very much so. If you were betting on that, like you were guessing, you got lucky, right? What was that range for like the equities? Were like equities range for like 10 years straight? Was that like the 80s?
In the 70s, the 70s
70s?
speculation.
You might have to start studying that.
I have studied it a
really-
lot.
I really think this most recent run up on ETH, and I've seen somebody already ask about it in the comments. I posted a tweet about it. It looks just like the indexes in like 2008 towards like the very end. So if that's true, we're probably going to get a puke out of ETH, but that's also going to be your last chance to buy before I think the real adoption cycle occurs for this asset. I'm not going to go full bear mode on ETH just because it's easy to do after a septuple top, but I do think when we bottom on this trend, like that is your point of maximum opportunity to buy ETH, probably for the last time.
I would say that Fractal is not really in play in terms of like how the Fractal played out. I still think that the end result will be the same, but the price moves are different by now. Like you didn't get that many shakeouts back in with Amazon.
Too many shakeouts.
Too many for both bulls and bears, as Louis said. If you're gonna look at these, obviously, there's been some people that like nailed this recent top, saying that it's gonna be the top. But the question is, how many times before that they did it, right?
Right.
Or said it. And in many cases, prices are still higher than when people told me that it's the top. I still view, regardless. Again, I absolutely think that this postpones the risk in the space, not just in this space, but in stocks as well. I think it postpones the risk like few months down the line. But when I zoom out on ETH, I still think this is a giant range. But by no means I expected another big test here. I really saw that this time, it's time. I did expect correction from that all-time highs, yes, but by no means another risk of like. I was ready for it. I said it's possible. I just don't see it.
Yeah. No, I agree. Yeah, whole new paradigm as far as what we're seeing in crypto as an asset class as a whole. And then, things change, markets change, and you got to adapt. Held on as long as I could. Like this for me, like I was buying Bitcoin at 17.5K, 2023. and just been riding the trend, at least on Bitcoin ever since. Obviously gotten altcoins as well as we went up. But this has always been a multi-year kind of swing trade for me as the asset class as a whole, right? Because like just following the previous market flows and rotations, right? This is always a multi-year swing trade. And we just didn't see that rotation into the altcoin market. And we didn't see ETH follow Bitcoin in a price discovery. And therefore, we haven't seen altcoins do anything really. We've just been seeing them range for the last several years at this point. So yeah, whole new paradigm. So you know, how we come out of this and how things change, I don't know. It remains to be seen. But I am moving away more from long-term swing trade mentality to more of like a trader's market, right? You kind of just, I think, until we get more, and maybe that's, you know, that was by design, get everyone to not want to hold onto these assets for long periods of time and then send them for a long period of time. Maybe that's the trap. Who knows? But I think right now I just, you know, I think it's wisest to remain more of a trader mentality and go that route until we see how this asset class transforms moving into the next couple of years, because there's still, you know, everything in the macro still pointing towards this asset class growing and maturing. It's just, you know, how is it going to get there? And maybe it needs more pain. Maybe it needs more getting rid of the excess, the dilution, the nonsense first. Maybe it's more pain before the gain over time. So we'll see. We will see. But yeah, whole new paradigm.
I really think the next cycle is going to reward, or like however you want to frame it, right? Because 4-year cycles, who even knows like how to even compartmentalize what that means anymore. But I think for me, it's like wherever we bottom from, what's going to lead off the bottom is going to be altcoins. It's going to be what people have stuck around for since 2021. And it's unfortunate.
Digital assets.
Yeah, a lot of digital assets. Exactly. Like a lot of people, we've lost a lot of brothers over the last year who had that dream, and we're probably just a little bit early. And yeah, I mean, I really think the next cycle is probably going to be led by ETH performance against Bitcoin. I don't think that you're going to see Bitcoin have like 6, 7, 8 multiples in it over the next few years, but it will probably gradually move higher as the bid on it is strong, which is a large reason why I think that it makes so much more sense for altcoins to really, you know, have their time in the sun over the next few years. Imagine the irony, guys, right? Of what we've maligned the most this cycle for being worthless and having no bid, and we see it on 1010, and altcoin sentiment is like, all right, well, there's no bid on these things. Why would they ever come back? And I think that is exactly when you should now be looking for discounts on. I would be very like strict about what you look at, obviously, because there are a lot of coins. It's a concept we've discussed a lot, but I do think coming out of this gully, it's going to be altcoins that are the leading narrative. And, you know, the 5 to 10 year thematic that people have been talking about as far as crypto adoption and the rails of tokenized assets being built out, that is coming. It's not like that's just going to stop happening because crypto goes down in price. So I think you need to have that in mind as well. But as far as, I guess, because I got a question about the astrology, it is Mercury retrograde, which is typically not good for crypto. It's like never good for crypto or
nothing's
tech.
good for crypto.
we've
Nothing has been good for crypto for a long time.
Oh, new moon in Scorpio this week should be interesting.
The beaver moon.
The beaver moon.
We got that was supposed to save us. Then I knew the McRib indicator was cooked when like there were McDonald's employees tweeting about it and stuff. I was like, oh my God.
Dude, I didn't even know that McRib was a sandwich. I was dead serious when I asked that question. I heard people would say the McRib before, but I didn't even realize it was a sandwich until I saw the Because Bitcoin X account tweet about it.
Tommy, you didn't know it was a sandwich?
I've never ordered the McRib.
What do you think it was?
I think this is
what I thought it was.
I think this is a good take by Barry, or like question to answer. And I think, you know, he says, do you guys think that it's an issue that the initial intent for the space was a sovereign type of new financial system, and something like ETH is heavily reliant on AWS. I think the narrative or so has been changing through the years, right? Like the space is trying to be whatever the market wants it to be. And so like at the start it was supposed to be like P2P cash system, right? And then it started to become more like a, then like the anonymity was a thing, right? Even for Bitcoin. And then that was, none of these really were a thing then. Now it's more about like, as you say, sovereign type of store of value. But then it also changed, and it's more about stable coins, right? And then it was about just like, it's about nothing, and it's just a speculation. And I think the next wave will be, again, I think it will be the digital assets, which will be basically protocols that are generating revenue. It's going to be like a company without the employees, right? It's just going to be the protocol that's generating the revenue, and it's all set in a code rather, and that will be, and obviously interchangeable on the internet very well. But I think that could be the next narrative. But what I'm trying to say is that the narratives keeps on changing to whatever people demand, whatever people view it. And even when it comes to Bitcoin, like people, you can ask 5 people and each of you will still tell you to this day that it's a different thing to him. Some people view it as like, yeah, that's something that I can own and nobody can steal it from me. Ask oil miners what they think of Bitcoin. They will say, hey, it's a great additional source of income, right? Like I'm burning here the methane, and instead I'm using that energy to mine BTC. Some people view it as like, hey, I can escape Ukraine, cross border, and then just remember my seat and get my money or my wealth in a different country. And some people will view it as a store of value, some will view it as a commodity for the electricity. Ask Nigerians how they view it. It's going to be different to each. And I always said this, to me BTC is a commodity, digital one, and people can view it for whatever they like. So I think that it doesn't really matter what the current narrative is. I think the market will always try to fit the demand.
I do agree with Barry, though, that like having so much of crypto basically warehoused by AWS is an issue. That's honestly kind of always been one of my biggest issues with DeFi. When we're talking about building a system that is, because I mean, I've said this repeatedly, crypto's biggest value proposition over a multi-decade period is the non-sovereign storage of value. And you can manifest that in a myriad of different ways, right? Beyond just the Bitcoin digital gold narrative. But you also need to build anti-fragile systems, right? Because if we're talking about, a non-sovereign place to store your wealth, it needs to be able to function when the system is breaking down. So, I do agree with that point. It is a touch concerning that you still have, you have crypto and it is non-sovereign, but at the same time, we are still largely correlated to like equity markets. We're correlated to the systems that largely run TradFi. So, I don't know. I think it just kind of builds in more value proposition over time for some of those assets that are going to be more resistant to that. And, I wouldn't say that I think that ETH is necessarily anti-fragile, but I do think that it's going to serve its purpose, which Jack has kind of touched on. Crypto is a bit of a chameleon. There's always a different fundamental reason for you to be bidding it every cycle. And I think that ETH is what it is. It's centralized, it's imperfect, and it's going to take probably a lot of elbow grease for it to eventually see, the heights of where I do think it still will go. But I mean, I think over time, we're just going to see cryptocurrencies continue to kind of like the ones that survive for multiple years, multiple cycles, are going to be the ones that carve out their own niche, their own value propositions.
Yeah. Listen, decentralization that is centralized. Exactly. Like, this is what I mean when I said, hey, the space moved from the crypto narrative, which was a cryptography security, right? And it moved more towards like, hey, these will be the protocols that will do it. Lots of companies blend sort of like, I would say what is happening is that this space is blending with TradFi, where some companies are still like human driven, while lots of crypto or like the digital assets will be just protocol driven. Basically, it's still some people or maybe agents behind it, AI agents, but generally speaking, it's less about that narrative. Like Tommy just spoken about the store of value. Well, I think you have Bitcoin with it and none of these other coins. Like at the beginning, every other coin was like, yeah, you'll have all these decentralized coins, right? They'll be like storage of value. And then that completely faded. Only Bitcoin really serves that role nowadays, but it doesn't serve the privacy narrative anymore. That's for another ones, right? And I think so. It will really depend, right? I don't think ETH is even trying to become like a store of value.
That's real. That's gonna happen. That's gonna happen in a big way.
Do it.
But the Santa rally is going to
But
save
not
us.
from here. Not from here.
So you think drop first, then Santa rally?
It's like the Anakin meme.
Yeah.
From here, right?
From here, right? Yeah, I think it would make sense for equities to pull back first before a Santa rally. Like,
I think we're gonna
Crypto.
rally like in December at some point, like into Christmas. I do.
we only got 15 days left in November, if that.
A lot can
I
happen.
can't believe this year's almost over, man.
What, Tommy?
I can't believe this year is almost over.
Yeah, it has kind of. I feel like the last 3 years have kind of flown by.
Yeah, we're stuck in the same place.
You don't love it, Louis?
You said it, Tommy. We're here forever.
We are here forever. I think the next cycle is going to be is really
That's the
gonna
one
be
that sticks.
all alts and ETH, man.
Yeah,
People are going to be waiting for Bitcoin to go parabolic to allocate to alts, and I just think alts are going to dust Bitcoin.
I still have faith in altcoins. It's just gonna it's gonna be the right ones. You know what I mean? You're gonna have to be very selective in what you pick. And I think if you do get value prices at altcoins that are pretty much going to provide the infrastructure and be the leaders for the market moving forward into the next decade, you're going to have assets that go up for multiple years on end. Just not from here.
Not from here. Not from here.
I think it's going to be more or less a rising from the ashes type thing, where like the whole market just needs a reset. And I thought we kind of saw that on 1010, but I think that was like the first massive tremor, and now that was like the slow bleed, right? And then from the ashes rise the winners. And I still do have faith in that. I just thought it was going to be this cycle, or quote unquote this cycle. Like, who knows if we're even getting cycles anymore? Who knows? But yeah, no, I still do have faith in that. It's just a matter of when everything bottoms, and then what rises from the ashes from that. But I still do very much believe in that.
Well, if Barry says that, we should listen.
That's an interesting take.
But what I need is, Barry, for you to come here and tell us why you think so.
Take.
What'd you say, Tommy?
That's a very intriguing take, because I've always written off ICP completely, to be honest. After its origins in 2021, right? I mean, we saw it go down like 99%.
I mean, yeah.
So I know of this coin as like the one that launched at the top in 2021. But that is definitely an interesting perspective. I'm going to have to look into that. Because for me, it's like, what do I want? What do I have confidence in on a multi-year time horizon? I've been thinking to myself about it for the last few weeks, and it's like Hyperliquid, easily the biggest one. And then ETH, I'm confident in ETH too, but less so than Hype. I just think like if Hyperliquid can't succeed, then what altcoin can, realistically?
Yeah, I agree with that. Like it has real world utility. People use it. They make money. It's a great
TradFi's
product.
gonna love Hyperliquid, man. They're gonna love Hyperliquid.
Just not from here.
Just not from here.
That's my new saying.
Have you guys been acknowledged? Like, have you noticed the strength on Hyperliquid for the last 1 to 2 weeks?
Yeah, I was buying a little like a week or so ago. In anticipation of a potential reversal. Still doesn't look bad, right? Like I think if it's above $30-$35, I think it's still doesn't look horrible, right? Like there are altcoins that are holding on to high time frame structure. Hyperliquid is one of them, and I think that's going to be telling what rises from the ashes and what lasts the test of time. Similar like something like an XRP. Like maybe XRP has a delayed drop loading. But relatively been holding on to a majority of its gains, that from when it pumped end of last year. So sure, I think it could definitely drop if the markets continue to roll from here. But it's even if it does drop from here, it's still going to be doing much better than 99% of altcoins out there. So I think that's just stuff that you should be paying attention to.
It's telling me I should own it when it finds a bottom.
Yeah.
Barry, you want to come up and cook about it?
I'll send Barry the link right now.
I actually don't have a hype bag right now. I'm basically like completely risk off, more
He's
or less.
hypeless.
I'm hoping Hyperliquid blesses an airdrop.
So my take on this is that I think we do, but not right now. I think right now the risk got postponed, and I think ETH even has re-entered its range, and I think it's gonna stay in that range for a little longer. But after that, I still think that what I'm generally saying is I don't think this is a typical cycle of the alt, and I don't think we go now into like a 12 months bear market, right? I think that the upside here got totally cut out, but and I think we are sort of going through something what we went through Q1, like that sell-off is potentially to continue here, likely to continue here. But when the risk conditions get better again, I think ETH and rest should pick up once more, and then we are high for longer. So I'm not sure if that answers that question, but should.
Just not from here.
Just not from here. No.
We got a question about Caspa. Why am I not bullish on Caspa? I never said that I'm like not bullish on Caspa on like a multi-cycle basis, but have you looked at the chart recently? I hadn't looked at the chart in a few weeks.
That's one that might be worth keeping an eye on when we think we're getting close to a bottom.
I was
as well.
thinking about that. Yeah.
I like the fundamentals. I was buying Caspa at 5 cents. I had a nice, that was a nice trade. We got out at the top or near the top, thankfully, and haven't had to live through this horrible, excruciating range of price action. Yeah, this is tough. This is
Still
like the epitome of crypto.
It's still failing to show any signs of strength for now.
Yeah. But fundamentally, it could be, a real use case for crypto on the line, or digital assets, proof of work.
I'm not like super bullish on Aster, but I also don't like to bet against the godfather of crypto. So I think I told the Discord call about Aster that if sorry, I should have highlighted the comment. With Aster, I think it's like if it's just being used as a tool to try and tear hype down, then like I'm not bullish on it. But if it's actually something that BNB wants to try and push, then I would be bullish on it in that case.
Why does it look good?
I know. It's been looking good.
Because one man has like 80% of the token.
Yeah.
Looks like it's about to rip. Or can. Or just slow grind higher.
Yeah.
Tommy,
I think we get a bottom on everything into the end of the year. I really do.
2 weeks.
2 weeks. I
Um,
mean, I don't know if we'll get a bottom in 2 weeks, but I think we bottom before the end of the year.
Wick.
I'm more conservative. I think like end of January to end of Q1.
Yeah.
But predicting time frame is really like super tough.
Yeah. That's
Like who could have guessed that ETH would be ranging like this the past years? Nobody.
They're so cute when they fight.
Yep.
Yeah.
Is this true, Jackus? Is this true?
I didn't say in 2 weeks, but it's my current objective for ECS.
Bottom when they announce QE or JP gets slapped. You know, if we were going to be in an uptrend, I was actually going to probably use the new Fed chair appointment as like a big top for the market. But now that we're not pumping into that, I think it's going to be very bullish for markets.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I agree. When is
It's
that
so
occur?
funny how the narrative changes, right?
It is ultimately just the fade or.
Was that February?
Yes, or March. Might be after that, though, to be honest. I thought it was March, but it could be May. I don't know. I think it's been my thesis for a while that we would just, and it probably will be the case throughout like the Trump administration, that we just have like these pockets of really large volatility that enable the leeway to keep printing money. Like I think that's the inevitable end game. It's like, oh, well, COVID gave you the blueprint for probably what they're going to try to do again for markets. And obviously you will see inflation, see a resurgence at some point this decade. We were talking about before we went live, you know, some local bottom targets and obviously high time frame top targets for gold. I mean, I've kind of like changed my stance on that, on how I think the next few years will go for gold. I'm very bullish on gold for the next few years. I think that will reflect the fact that we're probably just going to keep printing money on a crisis by crisis basis. You know, we had tariffs in April. There wasn't like literal money printing. We got like the backdoor QE that we saw under Yellen, but if we ever get something that comes up where we're required to print a lot of money, then it's only a matter of time before the market recovers and then makes new highs on the back of QE and likely low rates. But
Yeah,
also,
like something has to break first, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's just like a great way to kick the can down the road even more.
Yeah. Literally.
Hold on, I got to run to the bathroom real quick.
Unacceptable. Let's see. Okay. Is that on Twitter or
Yeah, I don't know if he's referring to X or what.
I'm gonna assume it's on X. Max, you want to check that? Max quiet as a church mouse. Max is sick at home right now.
Yeah, hey guys. I'm trying to be here, but I was sick this weekend. I've got a fever and just not feeling great. But yeah,
Yeah, it's going around.
I'm working in the background.
It's making its rounds. I've been like half sick for like 2 weeks. My son keeps getting sick every other day. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, dude, my kid was. I'm like people talk about the Bitcoin to gold like lag time. I've got a Max's kid versus Max getting sick time. He gets sick and then 7-day lag. Max gets sick.
Yep.
Brutal.
Yep. I feel that.
All right. How do we feel about this fractal, boys?
That better not be from 2022, Tucker.
Yeah, you know it is. You know it is. Works just as well, Tommy.
Yeah, I mean, could play. Could be
Straight
in
down.
play here.
How do we feel about this? Just straight down.
I mean, at this point, the quicker the better. You know, it's like
That's my
the
view.
worst would be just a slow grind. You know, a slow grind for months would just be horrible, and like with like little bounces along the way that just continue to trap you. I'd rather just see a massive capitulation at this point. And that's someone like I still do hold some altcoins. Like I do still have some altcoin exposure. Like I'm definitely cashed up, but like a slow grind is way worse than just.
I mean, man,
The
what
death
we
knell.
really
Even
need
if you
to
get the-
see is I put out a tweet about this. Is we need to see some negative funding on Bitcoin. That's been a sign of a bottom. Basically, every single time we've had a big drop in the past few years, funding is nowhere near negative at this point, not even close. So, I mean, I just think the selling you're going to see at least. I kind of agree with you, Louis. Like, just get it over with. But like, you're going to need to see a level get hit or like a trap door style drop that causes people to literally just go like, it's never even going to bounce. You know what I mean? And we haven't seen that yet. This has been controlled selling. I haven't seen the panic yet personally, but maybe I'm missing something, but I'm not seeing the negative funding. I'm seeing literally like what could go wrong. This is just a normal pullback. That's what I'm seeing. And I actually think a lot could go wrong. Like I just think you're going to get a huge puke and then we can talk about a big bounce from there. So
Yeah. Yeah, and like even if you do get that death knell, you know, like that big move down, like it still takes time to recover. But at least you're kind of in the area of where it's kind of where you find the bottom versus just slow bleeding towards it. So
yeah.
but yeah, I like that that indicator for sure. That makes a lot of sense.
You know, it looks horrible right now is BNB.
Let's see.
Yeah, it's back below its highs. Yeah, that's not good. Yeah.
I just don't think that like these formations are bottoming structures.
Yeah.
If they are, we would need to see it last for I think another like 2 weeks.
Yeah, I think you would need to see like this, you know. which is fine if that's what it wants to do, but yeah, it just doesn't quite.
Hmm. Hmm.
I will say I think there's some altcoins that are a lot closer to bottoms than Bitcoin and ETH.
Somebody wants Solana. Goodness gracious.
Yeah, that does not look good.
Give me 100.
Brings a smile to my face.
Yeah, so that's why I reached out to Becca, who
I had some great trades on Sol over the last few years. I just, man, I'm not going to get on a soapbox about it. Never mind.
No soapbox today.
No soapbox today. I don't even know if I want to buy this when I think it bottoms.
I think base is going to be a big factor in Solana not being as big as it used to be when all is said and done.
They should automate to the final NA account or Lynn's account.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, the trenches are always going to speculate on meme coins somewhere, you know? And it seems like there's a better mixture of fundamentals on base than there is on Sol. Although, you know, if we start to see like, holy, wait, I didn't even realize Sol was down to 133 right now. But
Yeah.
I feel like if we start to see Sol DeFi pick up, that could actually be a really big narrative. So maybe you don't even need to have exposure to Sol. You just wait for like some actually good DeFi to spawn up on it, because it kind of had like its first big speculative cycle on chain. I don't really think that ETH has necessarily had something comparable to that outside of like 2021. But we also saw, you know, ETH's kind of second cycle, they had DeFi explode. So maybe we see a DeFi resurgence on Sol. Not only on Sol, but partially on Sol, right? I mean, I don't even know what you would buy if you want to buy Sol DeFi. You have Jupiter, you have Jito, which actually had a good catalyst last week, Jito and LDO. Now that you can stake those bags, I think, like in an ETF. Am I crazy?
No, I'd rather Jito than stake.
Man, I was a Jito bull back in the day.
I mean, not even being a hater, but like, how can you have a project named Jito and it be bullish? Literally got Jeet in the name, man.
It was a psyop, man. This token is bullish, actually. No, I mean, a lot of the Sol DeFi just has FDVs that were way too high. So maybe if they're a bit more discounted, they become more attractive. Because I do think like what Sol does have that ETH will never have is how easy it is to transact on Sol. Like that is very real. And I don't really know that that can ever be put back in the box. People got a taste of like life away from EVMs. Very like fast finality. It was great for shitcoining. I think you could also argue it was also very bad for shitcoining, but like this cycle, it for the most part was very good.
What happened on Sol and with memes this cycle has killed it all. So
Yeah. That was, I think, more pump fun than Sol, though.
Well, I think Sol started it, and Pumfun was kind of like, "Oh, you think you are degens? We are even bigger degens." I don't think it was a net positive for the space. Well, maybe it was in the long term because it like brought the extreme of the extreme to place, and now we will not go that way again.
Yeah. I'd like to think we've learned some lessons from this cycle, but I also have seen a few of these play out, like 2 cycles play out now at this point, and it will come back. You just hope they wait. You hope they wait. And buy the major first. Remember, buy the major first. I think that's a good spot to wrap us up, though. Unless y'all have anything y'all want to add.
I'm good.
The duck on the plane profile picture cracks me up, Jackus. I can't lie.
Hello
So-
there.
All right, guys. If you enjoyed the stream today, a reminder that we do these shows Monday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday when the New York Stock Exchange is open. We typically start around 11:15 to 11:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. So if you want to catch Market Check again, those will be the best times to do it throughout the week. But we'll continue to cook up these great shows for you guys where we talk about everything ranging from equities to crypto to even, obviously talking about some of these future narratives, things like robotics, privacy, etc. So make sure to tune in for our next show, which is on Wednesday, but also make sure to tune in to Market Talk, hosted by the legendary King Wabi. That is an X Spaces hosted through Wabi's account, as well as Because Bitcoin X account. So make sure to stay following and subscribe so you can be notified, not just when we schedule those spaces, but of course also when we go live. Lastly, if you are having a difficult time trading in this current market environment, we do have something that could potentially give you an edge. If you're looking for signals based on hourly readings from Max's Volume Fusion Pro, we do have a Discord that will give you real-time alerts on when we flip to risk on versus risk off on some of your favorite assets like Sol, Doge, and of course Pepe as well. But all you have to do, sign up using our Blowfin referral link. You'll be given access to these strategies and more potentially in the future. But that's it from us, guys. We hope you enjoyed the show. We'll be back for another one on Wednesday. We'll see what this market gives us until then. But yeah, until Wednesday, thank you again, as always. And of course, stay safe.
Tired of outdated trading tools, confused charts, dozens of tabs, endless stress? You're not alone. Introducing BB Terminal, your all-in-one command center for crypto trading. Track your portfolio, monitor the markets, stay ahead, all in one place. From chaos to clarity, from struggle to success. BB Terminal,